I am so happy to have Courtney Beckles with me today. Courtney is a new friend of mine. We kind of just met through a mutual friend, and I heard of all the amazing things that he's doing. And I said, let's get him on the podcast. So, Courtney, tell us a little bit about yourself. We're going to get into your story in a little bit, but tell us kind of just who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm a financial service consultant based in New Jersey. I'm originally from Kingston, Jamaica. Came here in the 90s, so I've been here for some time now. But my background is retail management, and I made the transition to financial services 10 years ago. So my goal is to really educate people as much as possible. I'm really focused on the education because that's the missing piece. I think that for myself personally, I didn't have anyone to really show me because my family don't come from a wealthy background and they didn't really understand finances. And a lot of things that, we need to know, we're actually not taught in school. Maybe it's different now, but they didn't really teach those things that you really need to know. So I want to educate people so they can actually learn from my mistakes and kind of, get ahead quicker.
Yeah, that's awesome. So here's kind of my thing is they teach to read and write, and as soon as you learn to read and write, you should start learning financial literacy, in my opinion. But they don't. They don't, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's that important, and I love what you're doing. So what I like to do with all my guests is kind of ask them some kind of getting to you questions. Usually it's around stuff that I saw that you posted on social media, or just some kind of crazy questions. I even asked somebody about gnomes before. So all right. So my first question for you is, on your socials, I saw one of my favorite athletes of all time is Deion Primetime Sanders. He was born and grew up where I grew up. I wasn't born there, but I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida.
Right.
And I was a big Florida State fan when he played there. And I was a Cowboys fan. I'm not a Cowboys fan, but when he was there with the
because
Cowboys,
of him.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere he went. I'm more of an athlete fan than I am a team fan, so I follow athletes, right?
Right. Me too. Me as well. Yeah.
Apparently, I saw on your socials, he kind of succeeds no matter where he goes, right? So he went to Jackson State and just built them into almost like it's like a D1 program, right?
Right.
And now he's moving to an actual D1 program. And
right.
Apparently, there's some controversy around that. Can you talk about what you talked about on your social post about that?
Yeah, I think it's just people are not thinking big enough. Like, he's getting a lot of backlash for leaving the HBCU, and I think people just aren't thinking big enough. Like, they're thinking as if he's supposed to be their savior. Like, and we as individuals, we as people really need to stop looking for saviors. We don't really need a savior. We need inspiration, and we need leadership. And he provided that. Like, the issues that's happening in HBCU is not a one-man thing. It's gonna be a collective, a group of people working together. And the biggest thing that they have is a lack of funding. That's really not a Deion Sanders problem. So many people that are talking, where's your effort to make sure that you lead in getting people to fund, getting alumni to fund HBCUs? That's their bigger problem. So, instead of thinking of, hey, we need a savior to come and save us, he provided leadership. He showed that, hey, you can get some attention on HBCU. Okay, we can do that. We can also be competitive and persuade recruits to come into our program. And he showed that if you do have a good team and you do have a good product, people will fill the stand. So leadership was there. So someone else should be inspired to want to do the same thing. And, we've got to think of moving forward, growing. He can't stay in one place. You can't expect him to stay in one place. He's got to grow too. So he's got to go grow and somebody else could fill that spot. And if we follow, if he inspired a lot of people and they're following his footstep, imagine how college football would look. The bigger problem with college football is that there's a mostly Black athletes, but not a lot of representation when it comes to Black coaches, right? So if we think bigger and think about college football on a whole, the big problem we have is a lack of Black coaches. So with him doing that, that's elevation for Black coaches. Someone else is going to fill in his spot. Imagine if people were so inspired that they followed his blueprint. Imagine in 20 years where college football will be in terms of having more Black coaches there. So we've just got to think bigger, and we can't think savior. We just need inspiration and we need leadership. And if we do that, we've got to follow and work together.
Nice. That's I agree with you 100%. He obviously, why constrain the man? Who needs to grow, like you said. And he made an impact, right? There should be grateful for that impact that he made while he was there, right?
Absolutely. He took money out of his own pocket to fund. I mean, come on, what more can you ask of a person? Let's be inspired by his actions, and let us go be motivated to and inspired to do the same thing.
Nice. So the next question, I like to do these fill in the blank questions. So the moment you decide to blank is the moment you start moving forward instead of backward.
The moment you decide to stop living in the past. The moment you leave the past alone is the moment you move forward. We as human beings, and myself included, I've done this for a long time, but I've learned, we as human beings like to live in the past, something that we cannot change anymore. Nothing we can do about it. Oh, I wish I had done that. Why did I do that? Why did I make these mistakes? And you're beating yourself up for things that you did either because you didn't know any better or you just made mistakes. Those are things you cannot change anymore. The only thing you can do is learn from it, and then from now on, make better decisions. But we tend to beat ourselves up a lot for things in the past, but that's only holding us back. It's taking us backward instead of forward. So the moment we can make that decision that past is done, nothing I can do with it. Now, from this day forward, now is what I can do something about. Now I'm going to learn. Now I'm going to make better decisions. Now I'm going to make decisions that's going to make my future better. And that's all we can do. But that's what I would say.
Wow, I love that answer. The past often does drag us down if we focus too much on it. That's really good. Now, just kind of a fun question. Favorite type of vacation? Do you like adventure style? Do you like hiking? Like scuba diving, skydiving? Do you like just chillaxing, as I like to call it, just lounging by the pool, just chilling out at the beach, or kind of living it up, going to nice places and shopping and sightseeing and all that? What's your favorite type of vacation?
Great question. My favorite type of vacation is the favorite thing about vacation is that I have no commitments. It's good to get a breather and not because every day you get up, you have commitments that you've got to, fulfill. So it's good to just relax. And I like to enjoy the food. I like to enjoy the beaches. I like to enjoy the sightseeing and as well as do a few excursions. I like to enjoy the area that I'm in, get to know it a little bit. I don't want to just go on vacation and sit on the beach and drink all day. For me, that's not a vacation. Some people, that's what they like. They just like to relax and read, have a drink and sit by the beach. I do want to, do something active, get to know the place a little bit, enjoy the different restaurants, experience the food in the area. So that's what I like to do.
So you're much like me. You like a mix, right? I don't like too much of any one of those things. I do like to have some just peaceful time where I don't have commitments and I can read a book. It's some beautiful scenery around me, but then go out into that scenery and do something
Right.
go eat some really good food. So yeah, you and I are very much
Absolutely.
alike.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right,
I'm a
let's
very
dive.
balanced individual. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's dive into your story now, because I don't this, like I said, you're a new friend, so I don't know your story, and I would love
Right.
to, for not only I to find out about your story, but our audience as well. So kind of talk about how you got into entrepreneurship and kind of where you are now.
Okay. All right. So start my journey started with retail management, and I started retail early in my teens, and had some success there. Become a very young manager there, and managed some big box stores. But the retail game is it's very tough. It could take a toll on you, and especially like holidays now. I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore.
Yep.
You used to be there, during holiday season, sometimes till 2:30 in the morning, and then you have to be back in the store at 8 o'clock. So it was a tough grind. Sometimes you in the holiday season you had like 14-hour days, and it was a normal thing. So I transitioned from that about 10 years ago into the financial services industry. And I started working with an insurance company, Farmers Insurance. And at the time, they were new to New Jersey, and they wanted to get people to have their own agency. So they were training you to, have your own agency. But at that time, it was still onto you to manage. It's still your own business, but you're selling farmers' product, right? So you're contracted with them to sell only their product, but it's your own business. But at that time, I really wasn't financially literate. I didn't know a lot and know how to run my own business. I understood operationally things like that, and I did understand some sales, but in terms of it's a little different when it's now your own and you've got to do. When you're working for corporate, there's other people making decisions, and you just have to be good at following and coaching your team to do that. So it's different now when it's you, and you have to come up with the funds. You have to make sure. So didn't have success in that, and at that time I didn't know much about credit. I didn't understand anything much, so that didn't work for me. And I went into the bank, and I still was selling life insurance and all that, and I did very well there. Sold a lot for the bank, but I was a bank employee, so I didn't really see the rewards, the real rewards for selling millions of dollars in sales. So I did that, and I stopped for a while. But when I left the retail, I tried to be an entrepreneur, right, on my own, but I end up going back to work. I did that 2 times before, and now I'm on my third time. And the reason was I didn't have the courage to really, because it was tough. Being an entrepreneur is tough. Everybody, it is tough, right? I know you see all the fancy stuff online and all that, but it's tough, right? So I didn't understand there, and I didn't have the mindset needed to really seek mentorship and seeking someone that was doing really well and asking them how to do it and to give me guidance. I didn't do that. And I was comfortable with a job, because I knew how to do that. I did well. I always did well at my job. And instead of really sticking to it and finding mentorship and someone to help, I went back. I didn't have the courage. I went back to what I knew how to do, and uh, I did that for. Hold on 1 second. Are you there? Hold
I'm
on.
here.
Okay. Um,
We'll edit this section out. Uh-oh, now I'm gone. Okay, Courtney hopefully will be back. I think he was doing the Zoom from his phone. So I think he got a call, and the call kind of cut off the feed. So I was so interesting to start hearing his story. So I'm gonna just provide some filler here that'll probably be edited out. But I'm just gonna kind of talk about what he was saying in his story, that a lot of people don't realize how hard entrepreneurship is. A lot of times, like especially on your outside looking in, and you see all these accomplishments that entrepreneurs have, right? You don't see what we call the iceberg effect, right? You don't see all the grueling stuff that's underneath all of that, all the um, faith that it takes, all the risk that you have to take, all the um, being uncomfortable that you have to be, right? It's just it's not for the faint of heart. Entrepreneurship, it's just not for the faint of heart. So I can't wait to hear more of his story. And I think it's interesting that he left and went back to entrepreneurship. He obviously wanted to make entrepreneurship work, but it was the fear factor, right? He jumped back out of fear from moving forward, and he said something very key there, that he didn't have the mindset at the time, and now I believe he's going to tell us, about where he is now and how he's either found a mentor or has developed the mindset that an entrepreneur needs in order to succeed. So anyway, hopefully he's coming back. Bear with me just a second and I will invite him back. Let's see. You off. Again. All right. This is the first time this has ever happened on a podcast. There'll be some editing going on here. So I didn't have any filler to talk about, other than going on about what he was talking about. So let's just talk about the moment. He said the moment you decide to let go of the past is the moment you start moving forward instead of backwards. How true is that, right? So many people, one of my thing that I like to say is just keep moving forward, right? So many people struggle to keep moving forward because they're holding on to the past, that they're making excuses as to why they can't move forward because this happened to them in the past, or they're not good at, like, yeah, there's countless reasons why. All right, keep coming back.
Progress.
Sorry about that. I forgot to, I'm using my phone because it's clearer than my laptop. And I forgot to put it on do not disturb. And I try, as you can see, I'm not very good at technology. I try to stop it and.
That's all right. I was providing filler since we're on the live. I was providing filler. This is the first time it's ever happened to me on a podcast. So I'm like, okay, what do we do now? Well, let's just talk about what Courtney was talking about. So I kind of talked about how you were talking about your entrepreneur journey and the mindset, right? That you had lacked the courage, and then but you kept going back to it. So obviously there was a pull to bring you back into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It kind of left us at a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Right, in your story. So let's continue your story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's pick up where you left off. So you're working at the bank.
Yeah.
Right. And then you had just went back into entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
Is that where we were?
Yeah. Yes. I worked at the bank, and then I took a break from that and did something else. And well, right after the bank, I went back and tried. And for the second time, I went back to work, right? And I think part of the reason why, a lot of times you hear people saying, telling their story, and they're telling you that they were homeless and they had, there's time where they didn't have food to eat and stuff like that. Maybe because that wasn't my experience. I mean, and I experienced poverty as well, but it wasn't to the point where I didn't have somewhere to live. It wasn't to the point where I didn't have clothes on my back. It wasn't to the point where I didn't have somewhere to sleep. So I had all the necessities. So it might not be the most comfortable, but I had it. I never had to go without, I've never had to go to bed one day being hungry. So maybe that comfort, maybe sometimes when it doesn't hurt enough, sometimes, you go back to what you normally do. So I did that again. And the third time it happened was when I went back to work for this company, and maybe this is what needs to happen sometime, why people can get to the point where they actually make a solid decision. Sometimes it takes something really bad happening to you. And that's what happened to me. I was getting married in 2019. I was getting married, and I was an operations manager at a company that they had a contract to clean planes for United Airlines at the Newark Airport in New Jersey. And I was getting married, and I gave them 90 days notice, a lot of notice, 90 plus days notice that I was going to need the time off. And when it comes time for me to go and, get married, go on my honeymoon, all that good stuff, other managers were actually requested the same time off. And so the senior upper management said that, hey, you all can't go at the same time, so decide between you guys who's going to go. But that's really not my responsibility. I don't have any authority over these other managers, right? Okay, so they're my peers, so I don't have the. So I gave my time ahead, and this is my wedding. It's not like I'm saying I want to be off just to be off. This is my wedding and honeymoon. I certainly can't miss this. Right. So I came back from all that after my honeymoon, came back, and there was a letter. Guess what letter was there? A separation letter. They actually, because I stuck to what I was going to do. I went to my own wedding, and my wife would kill me if I postponed that. I mean, some things are more important. I don't know what they had going on, but I gave enough time. So it was the responsibility of upper management to figure out how they're going to make this work. Not my responsibility to convince other managers that, you know what I'm saying? So I came back to separation paperwork, and that right there was what needed to happen for me to decide that, you know what, this is not for me. There's no way I'm going to give somebody as that much control over my life to tell me that I can't even go to my own wedding, to tell me that hey, you need to have total control over my life and my schedule, what I can do, when I can go on vacation, when I can't. So that wasn't for me anymore. I decided that I would rather struggle and figure it out and get the help I need, and see it through, than having to deal with something like that. And that was the difference. That's why I'm I'm in it for life now.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many things that you said there. And there's more to your story, I want you to continue it, but there's some things I want to hit on there. Sometimes the enemy of moving forward is comfortable, being comfortable. Yes, absolutely. It happens to me. It happened to absolutely. Me. I reached a certain point in my business where I just got comfortable, right? Yeah. I stopped growing. I was happy with what I had, but really inside, even though I was comfortable, I was not comfortable. Right. Inside, I was dying slowly. If you're not growing, you're dying, right? Absolutely. I agree 100%. So I love that you had mentioned that about being comfortable. Because yes, I've had a lot of people come on this podcast and say that they were at desperation level, right? Mm-hmm. They were homeless. They didn't have anything else that they could do. So they went into entrepreneurship and it worked, right? Right. They were, because like there was no way but up from there. Right. Where they were, right. So I think that's good for people. I think if they have a situation like that, it's actually a positive. It's more, it gives them a lot more drive. Absolutely. Yeah. But you can't get like even those people I feel like could get comfortable. Like they'll think here's where the past might actually fuel them rather than take them down though. If they
Right.
get to a certain point, they may keep that drive alive because they'll think about the past when they didn't have
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where us people that have went through being comfortable,
Hmm.
we don't have that. I mean, may have struggled early on in our business, but not to the desperation point, right?
Right.
So um
Right.
very, very good. The other thing you said is kind of about the trade-off um, that you're ready for entrepreneurship because you didn't want anybody to have that kind of control over your life anymore.
Hmm.
But from your previous experience, you knew what entrepreneurship took. Like
Hmm.
there's some things on the other side of entrepreneurship that aren't
Right.
easy, right? As we talked
Right.
about. But you finally had that breaking point, like the trade-off is worth it because I want to start
Absolutely.
owning my life. So
Absolutely.
love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So any more to your story or can we get into your expertise?
So yeah, so now my focus is just educating. I have a lot of experience when it comes to life insurance, especially. And that's something that a lot of us in my community aren't very well educated on, and what it can do in terms of changing your life, for the long run. So I'm focused on that, focused on building my agency and, adding more people to help me with this journey. And, I'm also, involved with credit. I learned credit as well, because I realized that, that could be a solution for you, for lack of capital, especially if you have the knowledge and skills to execute and you just missing the funding. So I've learned that. So my whole life from this point on, because yeah, I knew it was going to be challenging the first year. So I worked for an insurance company for 1 year, and since last year, beginning of last year, I went full-fledged into owning my own business. And first year was tough. I knew it was going to be tough, but the next year was better. And in 2023, I expect that to even get much better as well. So, it's been improvement year after year for me. And that's what I expect to continue to happen. And it will never be, as you mentioned, it would never be a point where now I've reached a certain point and I'm comfortable. I dedicate the rest of my life to make sure that I'm continuing to grow year after year after year, day after day, month after month, year after year. So that's what I want to do, and bring what my knowledge and my experience to especially younger people, so they could actually have the tools and the education they need to avoid some of the mistakes I made, and actually set themselves up better, and learn from the beginning of what the path they want to take, and actually stick to it.
Nice. So just so the listeners know, the name of your business is Black Stallion Consulting, and I have seen some of your videos. You are educating people very well around financial literacy. Check out his profile on Facebook. You have a website too. Well, we'll get into all that
Mhm.
after we go into your expertise. I just wanted to bring that up. Is that from my research about having you on this podcast, I went and looked at your profiles and I was like, guy is sharp.
Mhm.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
so let's dive into that expertise a little bit. I'm going to ask you, what is the secret to building generational wealth? Because everybody should aspire to that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, in general, what I found is the secret is to get around wealthy people, and follow, learn from them. Get yourself, be intentional about getting out of your circle, your immediate circle that doesn't know much about wealth, and get around people that actually knows it and are doing it, and learn from them. But specifically, one thing that we all could do, that a lot of us are not aware of, is that we can actually buy generational wealth. with life insurance, right? Because you think about life insurance is an immediate estate that's going to transfer to your named beneficiary tax-free, right? So if we think about the long-term play, especially using a permanent life insurance policy that's going to be there, it's long-term, right? Not only can you set up for the next generation, but while you're building the cash value in your life insurance policy, because it has a savings account for permanent policies that builds cash value, you can actually leverage those dollars over there, go invest in business, make your profit, and pay back the loan. You're borrowing against your cash value. But meanwhile, your cash value is continuing to grow. So you have your dollars working in two places. There's no lost opportunity costs, right? So it's just leverage. Your dollars, it's like if you went to the bank and you had 100,000 and then you withdraw 50,000, you now have only 50,000. You actually took that money out. Well, this type of system here, you're borrowing against your 100,000, but you still have 100,000 there. You're just using your 100,000 as leverage, and the insurance company will lend you the money to go do your business, and you have uninterrupted growth of your dollar over here, and you can make money, pay it back, and you can do that over and over and over again. So you don't have to wait till you die to reap the benefits of life insurance, a permanent policy. You can leverage it while you're still alive. And then when you die and that money transferred to your heirs tax-free, then they can follow the same blueprint, and it's only going to keep growing. So each time it's growing more and more and more, and they can do the leverage just like you do and continue. So it's important to pass on not just money to the next generation, pass on the knowledge. How do you go about using it? How do you leverage it? How do you build a system? A great example is two families in America, and I've learned, I did a little research on them, I've learned, and it's the Vanderbilt family and the Rockefeller family. The Vanderbilt were one of the wealthiest family in America, but today they do not have anything to show for their wealth because there wasn't a system built. See, if you just pass on money to your heirs and they don't understand what to do with and how it works and how to multiply, if their relationship with money is to just spend, money will, I don't care how much you have, it will die if you don't put it to work to make more money. It will die, right? So if that's what's going to happen, that's what happened to them. Now, the Rockefeller family, instead, they built up a system using life insurance, right? And they created a family bank. So now we're going to continue getting life insurance, and that money is going to keep going back into the bank and funding it. Now, if you want access for money for your business, now you can come to us. You don't have to worry about access for money, but it's gonna be done responsibly. So you're gonna come to us with your plan, and it's a good plan. You can get the money, and then you're gonna pay the bank back, and it's it's gonna continue growing over and over and increasing. So it never dies because it's within a system, and it's not only a system of growing money, but it's a system of knowledge, understanding what to do, how you do it. And when you go and you have success in whatever project or business that you're borrowing the money from, you come and share it with the family, how you go about doing it. So those things last, because it's a system. So yeah, that's a big secret. You can leverage life insurance and set up your family for generations to come, and they just keep doing the same thing that you do. Very powerful system.
It definitely is powerful. One thing that I think about, what most people think about life insurance is they don't think of it as even an investment. They think about, oh, I just put money in and then my family will get it. Right. Get my policy when I die. Right. They don't think about leveraging life insurance at all.
Absolutely. They don't know. Most people don't know. They don't have the education about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple questions around that. Like, how would someone go about, other than just contacting you, of course,
Mhm.
how would someone, what is the process of someone getting into and buying whole life insurance?
Well, they, a couple things that they have to have. Well, if you're gonna set it up for funding, then for internet banking or using it as a bank, using the leverage, the cash value, it is it important that you do have some funding, something to fund it with. It may not be, you may not have a whole lot to fund it with, but the only thing that with that, it will take a little time. You can still build it up 5, 10 years and then be able to leverage it the way you want to leverage it. The other thing to understand as well is that you can just start from where you are right now, and later on, as your income grow, you can even open another one. You know what I'm saying? But they they need to make sure that they figure out what they can afford, where they're at, what they can afford per month. And then once you talk to someone and sit down and tell them what your goals are, then you got to have them structure the policy so that it could help you accomplish your goals. And then obviously you have to be healthy. I would say, I would say, not that you have to be in perfect health, but if you have conditions and stuff like that. So sometimes when people wait too long, I always tell them you're risking that's a big risk, because you never know how your health could be later on. And when you're younger and healthier is the best time to take advantage, because you're paying less, and it's going to grow better because you have more time. Time is a great factor when it comes to compounding interest. And then you're healthy now. So if the policy is in place, then if even if you become unhealthy later, you already have the policy in place. But they're not going to take you on if you're unhealthy today. So you want to make sure you do that as soon as possible. And then you go through an underwriting process. And then once the process is complete, the policy is issued. Once the policy is issued, the insurance company is obligated to follow that policy. If something happened to you, they've got to pay the death benefit, right? So that's the thing. First, get your finances, see how much you can reasonably afford per month, and without affecting your daily living. You don't want to struggle. And then you talk to an agent, explain what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, have them structure a policy that will help you accomplish your goal. Go through the underwriting process, and once it's completed, be able to leverage it, whenever you can.
So several things that I picked up from that is, it's the old thing, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The other best time is
Yeah.
now.
Now, yeah,
Right.
Yep.
So if you have disposable income, if you're not, stretched at your limit, now's the time, right?
Yep.
Because you're only getting older,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
And you can put and from what I understand, you can even have your kids started on a policy, right?
Absolutely. That's very smart to do. I mean, and the thing is, for them, it's even a better advantage. You can put less in there and still have a lot later, because again, time is the great factor when it comes to compounding interest. That as that thing keeps growing, it becomes like a big giant ball. And the more it grows and add, it's going to increase at a higher rate because of the amount that it's already grown. So yeah, time is a very important factor. So I would encourage everyone to really start their children early, start with what you can, and that thing will be, I mean, when it comes to college, they'll be able to use that to pay for college. So yeah,
Or start their
absolutely.
entrepreneur journey
Or start their journey. Exactly.
with a little bit of a head start.
Mhm.
Speaking of entrepreneurs, like us as entrepreneurs, we have control over revenue. For the most part, it's based on using the correct strategies and making sure that we're doing a good job running our businesses. But with that, a lot of entrepreneurs, because this podcast is focused on entrepreneurs, that a lot of us have that extra income, right? That income that we can then leverage in other places. So I just want to make that point clear that if you are an entrepreneur, this is a good vehicle to help you build your wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're 100% right.
Awesome. The other thing I know that you help people with, people that maybe a little bit even stretched to their limit, right? Is you help people fix their credit.
Mhm.
So can you talk about what you do and the importance of having good credit?
Yeah, I mean, if I knew how to do that too, I would have, I would have started the entrepreneurship journey, because there was time where I needed funding, I didn't have it. But yeah, it's important. Credit is another. The key word is leverage. It's another way to use leverage. You can actually use your good credit even if you don't have a business that's producing yet, and get funding just by a credit. The credit is really your report card as an adult, right? They look at credit even for life insurance. When you apply for life insurance, they and even auto and all that, they look at your credit to kind of make a judgment on you, right? Because it tells them a story. So your credit is your report card. When you were going to school, you had a report card to see how well you were doing with your grades and all that, right? So as an adult, that's your adult report card. It gives everyone an indication or some kind of knowledge of what type of individual you are, how responsible you are. Credit is really trust. Okay, so do I trust this person to pay back if I give them this money, right? And that's what your credit profile will tell you. So it's very important. So if you have issues on it, you want to fix it. That's the first thing. You got to understand that it's fixable. Most people think they have to wait 7 to 10 years to get it cleaned up. Most of credit reports have errors and mistakes on it, and because it's humans that are inputting the information. Humans make mistakes all the time, right? Especially when they have so much to do. They're not really accurate all the time. So yeah, understand that you can repair it. It might take a little time, but you can repair it. And once it's repaired, then you need to build it, right? You need to build it. So it's not just a good credit score. A 20-year-old could have a very good credit score, but they don't have a good profile, right? And their score might be 780, but someone that's a 680 could qualify for a lot more than them because they have a built-out report, because it's structured, because it's showing that they have history, good payment history. It's showing that they have they're responsible with credit. It's showing that they have some experience. Hey, they have some installment loans there. They have some revolving credit, like credit cards and all that there. They've had a mortgage before. So someone that has a built-out report, that have experience and shows consistency, the bank will be more willing to lend them money and trust them that will continue than someone that's very new, that just have a good credit score. So it's important that your report is all built out, because they look at that. The score is just the beginning of it. The report is really what says something about you, tells the story. So it's important to do that. So I want to make sure people understand it. It's more about the structure of the report and the report being built out. And now you can use it as leverage. Like I was saying, if you're starting a business just from the scratch and you don't have any, you only can go by stated income, what you expect for the business to do, then your personal credit is what you can leverage. And you can get 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 maybe, right, for your business, and to fund your business and get you off the ground.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful. And I love what you had to say, because if for someone that's younger that hasn't done much to establish their credit, they may have a decent score, but they're going to look at that and they say, there's not enough of a story here.
Right.
Like maybe you've had one credit card, like one gas card, and you just pay
Right.
it every time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great analogy that you pointed out there. Courtney, it has been awesome having you on the podcast. Tell everyone again where they can go and find out more about you, get some more of that great financial education that you're giving everybody. And if they want to dive in and start building generational wealth by looking at some life insurance policy, where can they go?
Okay, so the first thing I'm in Instagram a lot, so you can follow me on Instagram, and hit the link tree there. And the first thing you should do if you need some life insurance, or you need more, is hit that link in the bio on Instagram, and schedule a consultation. It's a free consultation, doesn't cost you anything. So that's the first thing you should do. You can find me at Stallion, STALLION _0915. And I'm also on TikTok. I have a YouTube channel as well. And you can get to my YouTube channel from that link in my Instagram bio, where free education there. I'm going through scenario, and that will continue. That's my way of giving back, explaining, because again, when it comes to life insurance, a lot of people really aren't educated. And I want it to come from a person that's actually do it, because I know with social media, there's a lot of people talking, and they're actually not doing what they're talking about. So I'm an agent that actually write policies for people. So you want to take advice from someone that's doing that. So yeah, Instagram, and you can connect to me on TikTok or YouTube as well. I'm on Facebook, Courtney Beckles on Facebook. I do put information there as well. So I'm not hard to find.
Awesome. We're going to put those links. If you are watching this on video, those links will be in the description of the video. This will be in the show notes if you're listening to this on a podcast. So be sure to go check out and connect with Courtney. Courtney, I ask every entrepreneur before we end the episode to give any parting words of wisdom that they have for the entrepreneurs listening. So do you have any wisdom that you'd like to pass on to anyone?
Absolutely. Three things I'm gonna say. First, make sure you are very intentional about finding a mentor early. Okay, you need a mentor, and it doesn't have to be someone on social media that you have to pay. If you don't have money to do that, you don't have to. You can actually get yourself involved in different networking events in your local areas. Seek that. Those meetings are happening around you in your local area. Go seek out and find someone that's doing what you want to do well. And if they see something in you, they will mentor you, and it will cost you nothing, right? And they'll work with you. So seek out a mentor that can help you and can guide you and give you advice on what to do. The next thing is you want to make sure that you are seeking or trying to find out what you're good at. I was always good at teaching and coaching, but I just recently accepted that. And I should have long time ago accepted that. But find out what you're good at and give it all your focus. You'll become successful if you do that. The other thing is get yourself some financial education. Become financially literate. We learn a lot in school about math and English and all those things, but the one thing that we need to know about how to live our life that we're going to always need is money, and we didn't really learn about that. So the information is out there. It's so much easier to get information now, but you have to have the intention behind it. Learn financial literacy, educate yourself, and not only are you going to put yourself in a position to make the right decisions, you cannot be taken advantage of also if you have your knowledge. All right. So that's what I would leave people with.
That's all awesome. I really, especially like knowing money is so important, whether no matter what you're doing, whether you have a job or you have a business, but especially as a business, like you've seen many people that start businesses that are good at what they like, their skill, right? But they're not good. A lot of times it's not that they're not good at business, but the other thing is that they're not financially literate, right? That they start a business and they don't know how to work their money, or have their money work for them. So
Absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
great points. Thank you again, Courtney, and until next time, keep moving forward.